Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Texans Probe. Today, we're going to kind of be going through preview of the Colts game. Football's finally back, and we're going to get ready for yes, we're going to get ready for this Week One game in 2 days now. Pretty much, we're recording this on Friday, so right around the corner. So how you feeling, Drew?
I feel like I kind of said this last week. I really don't expect this to be a close game. I know everyone's like talking about all the tensions and and this thing of rivalry. Well, first of all, this wasn't really much of a rivalry. Whatever, really ever.
No.
It was like Peyton Manning was
Yeah,
there.
Colts have
The
dominated us.
Colts would dominate us, and then we've kind of been dominating the Colts as of lately. We hadn't won in Indianapolis until like what 2018 or 2019. That it took us that long to win
It
Indianapolis. This is
was it?
not
I think it was
a
like
rival.
20. It was like 2016, right? Because we won the division off of
Oh
going
yeah,
into
something like
Indy.
that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it took them like over 10 plus years to win an
Mhm.
Indy. So,
Yeah.
um,
So
yeah, it took a
I,
long time.
I hate the Jaguars. Honestly, the team I hate is the Jaguars. That's absolutely hate them. And then
Yeah,
the Titans.
and that's not even
Uh,
really a rivalry
go
because we
with
always
them.
kick the Jaguars' ass pretty
And they
much.
always beat the Jaguars. I hate them.
Yeah,
And then the Titans, they're just absolute scumbags for taking the jerseys. But if this is going to be rivalry, that's cool because I think that these two teams, with the way they're set up for the future, the Colts and the Texans will always be in a conversation. As with the Jaguars and the Titans, especially the Titans, very concerned about what their future looks like. And the Jaguars, they're Trevor Lawrence is getting close to Daniel Jones territory with his clumsiness, and that's a lot of money. And Giants are kind of screwed right now, and the Jaguars could be screwed in the future too.
yeah. Like Tennessee's a weird position where like they have a young roster, but then they have
Oh,
spent a ton
Maddie,
of money
yeah,
on old players. So if they're not good this year, they're in a bad spot.
we're so screwed.
Um, yeah, and I
Yeah,
don't really
what do
like
you
a
think
lot.
about the what do you think about the tensions though? Like, yeah, I mean, like Zaire Franklin thinks CJ was talking crazy, but like he wasn't
Yeah,
really. So
um, I don't
I don't
really.
know.
It's kind of a weird situation because like these like the two linebackers for Indy have talked the most, and they got picked on last year when we played them. And so also, I think it's bizarre that they talk about like we never beat Richardson, but Richardson also didn't finish the game. Like they were up 7 when he goes out, and then Minshew came in and was like just tearing us apart. So it's kind of a weird thing to flex, and like you also got beat at home with the division on the line. So it's kind of a bizarre situation, like for you to go out of your way and flex about, especially because the defense in both games was not very good. We couldn't run the ball, and we still were tearing them apart week 2. So I don't know. I have some. I've as the week's gone along, I just feel better about the Texans going in there and just kicking Indy's ass. I mean, if we lose like week 1, anything could happen, but I just feel more confident now than I did about like us going into Indy and just beating them up.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it'd be cool if it was a close game. We can, talk all that trash online, whatever, say we pulled out another close one, Indy, but like, there's a good chance the Colts just absolutely dominated us. Because, like you said, Gardner Minshew was tearing us up last year. Now, who knows
Yeah.
what would happen if Anthony Richardson played the full game? Who knows what would happen if Anthony Richardson played in the playoffs? Also, Anthony Richardson struggled at times in the preseason against the Bengals third stringers, but he also looked good. So it was up and down. This game
Yeah.
could really go either way. That's why I don't think it's going to be close either way.
Yeah. No, I think the thing with Richardson is like it's going to come down to early in the game because if you can get up on Indy, I don't think they can come. Like they don't throw the ball well enough, and I don't think Richardson's going to throw the ball well enough to like mount a big comeback. But if they get up on you, then it becomes a problem because they're just going to run all over you.
Exactly. Can't
So
stop that.
yeah,
Which
it'll come
was
down.
really good. That's a good way to put it because that really is like probably the key to the game for the Texans to win. Like that's the winning
Yeah,
formula. If they cannot let the Colts get ahead. But obviously we don't know what the Texans offense is going to look like, so it's hard to give like a key offensively. I would say like spread the ball out. Don't have a vanilla offense. But remember, there was times where Bobby Slowick's play designs made me cringe. And then there was also times where Bobby Slowick's play design, like, oh, that's really nice. He's one of the up and coming coaches. That's great. That was so cool. Like, I love it. But this it's week 1, so he should. feel free to be creative. They've been working all off season. Like Chris Collinsworth and Mike Trigo said about the Ravens and Chiefs, they knew they were playing each other for months. So the Texans have had all this time to prepare for the Colts. Texans didn't have all that time to prepare for the Colts in week 3 or whatever when they played Anthony Richardson last time. And that could be exactly why they ran all over them. And that's exactly why Gardner Minshew threw the ball over them. So preparation is key. And I think the Texans are a better team roster wise. And then DeMeco Ryans, as a defensive minded head coach, is a huge advantage for him to have all this time.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, really, and it, we'll get into keys, but I just want to. I'm just going to throw out my offensive one just because we're talking about it. Really, to me, the key for the offense is just the offensive line. Like, there's not a single guy, but the offensive line because I do still worry about the team's run game. We've talked about it in the preseason. They didn't block all that well in the run game. They have to run the ball more efficiently, but they also have to protect because if they can protect against Indy secondary, they're going to tear them apart. That secondary is not good. So if you can protect Stroud, like he's going to tear that with that receiver core they have, they're going to tear him apart. So you have to just be good up front in this game on both sides, but especially on offense because we talked about they can easily put 40 points on the Colts with that secondary. Like this is one of the worst secondaries they're going to play. So
Yeah.
um, they have to protect up front and they have to be able to run the ball with Mixon out there.
Yeah, for me, like the offensive line is like, what else are we gonna do? Like, this is my ideal starting five for the top for the offensive line. Now,
Yeah.
if Kenyon Green looks bad, fine. Take Kenyon Green out. It didn't work. Whatever. Get Jarrett Patterson in there. We also might say Kendrick Green had some good games, but if it's like Titus Howard isn't looking good. Tunsil's not looking like he's in shape. And it's just little things like that. Shaq Mason's falling off. Like that cannot happen. Like this is the way the team has to be built because the Texans can't start changing all of that. They just add all these pieces on defense. They have money that's going to be spent other places. This starting five for the offensive line needs to be the guys that's going to be there for the next 3 to 5 years because I don't know what else they would want to do.
The only thing is, only guy that could probably, if Mason takes a step back, then you could put Patterson in there. That's the only real like thing that you could probably see in the future of this offensive line. Because even I don't, Titus might with Fisher might be on the way out if they have to extend guys, but you still think he's going to be here for the next couple of years. Um,
Yeah, and they have a lot of money tied up in Titus and Shaq Mason. People
yeah,
even I kind of forgot about that, but they have a lot of money spent on those guys.
yeah, they do.
But
And
of
Mason did a
course,
good job last year.
yeah, he was phenomenal. He's one of the he
Yeah,
really is one of the best pass protecting offensive linemen in the league, and he's a great fit and as a zone run blocker. But the Colts also have a really good defensive line. So,
oh, they
and
do.
it's week 1, so yes, the offensive line could very well be the reason why we lose this game, but it really could just be more of a credit to the Colts defensive line. All 4 of their guys are legit. And I think they also have, I don't know if Lawtu's in the starting lineup, so they have 5 guys that can win one-on-one consistently. I know Laramie Tunsil's supposed to be a shutdown guy, but DeForest Buckner versus Shaq Mason still scares me quite a bit just because it's DeForest Buckner.
For sure. All right, who's your key for the offense? Well, we'll get into that. Who's your you had to name? So look, I said offensive line, but if I had to name one guy, it probably would be Kenyon Green, just because I don't know what the hell we're gonna get out of that spot. Um, who would be your one offensive guy?
Mike, I'll go Tank Dell. Tank Dell didn't
Okay.
get to play against the Colts in Indianapolis last year, and I just feel like I don't know if it's a real thing in the NFL, but I feel like teams are just a little more consciously concerned about Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs because it's Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins because he just went off last year. And Tank
Yeah.
Dell might be a little bit under the radar, but again, you can't double all of them anyways. And I think
Yeah.
one on one, man, Tank Dell's routes one on one are just absolutely nasty. I know Nico Collins has the speed it's like you said, the Colts DBs, they're not good anyways. But
No, yeah.
you let Tank Dell be one-on-one, and it's going to happen all day on Sunday. You're done. You're absolutely
Really,
done.
the only
That's
one of
it.
the receivers that has an actual decent matchup is probably Diggs in the slot with Kenny Moore, who's pretty good. Like the two outside guys, Nico and Tank, who are going to be on the outside mainly, they have. I mean, more than likely, you're going to see Tank going against Jalen Jones, and I love him from A&M. Not a cornerback two in the NFL. It's just he was barely a cornerback two in college. So
I'm glad you mentioned Kenny Moore because now that I think about that more, I really hope that Nico Collins would be a guy you line up in the slot. Just because
yeah,
I don't think that Kenny Moore can really match up with Nico Collins based on speed and size.
yeah,
There's so many ways that you can make that work. You can have it run overs, crossers, digs, drags, corner routes, posts. You can run the route tree can be phenomenal from the slot. And Kenny Moore might have more success jamming Stephon Diggs because he's able to match his long speed better, or Tank Dell because of his size. But Nico Collins in the slot could do absolutely wonders. As for those other two guys, they can't guard Tank Dell or
yeah,
Stephon Diggs. No
yeah.
way.
Nope, no, they can't. All right, let's go on to defense. Who is your one guy on defense? That's your key.
Henry Toa. I honestly thought it was a joke, but apparently in an interview called himself a fat ass.
Yeah,
He
he
said
did. Yeah,
last year that he was a fat ass, and I guess it makes sense. But when
yeah,
someone says that, I genuinely have to take them very seriously when they say that because uh, I don't know. I mean, he's an NFL linebacker. Still kind of crazy to say, but if you tell me he
yeah.
got in even better shape and he's an NFL linebacker, and D'Amico Ryans is saying that he looks better, Aziz Al-Shaair has been helping him out. He's came out and said that. I think Henry To'oTo'o could look absolutely phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
So he could really be a stud, not just your average Joe at linebacker, that third linebacker on an NFL roster. He could be legit. And the Texans might open the entire defense to rotate guys, play 4-3 more. But obviously, with Christian Harris out, this will be huge. Just play that 4-2-5, the Z's and Henry To'oTo'o. And I think Henry To'oTo'o, I really liked his skills as a run defender last year. He has that sideline speed. And if he has more confidence, like he's talked about, and he feels like he's in a better physique too, he'll take on blocks, and it's going to be really key against the Colts because, you know, as much as I would love to see like maybe Neville Hewitt and Cesar Shire just kind of being there as run stoppers, they're not going to do that. It doesn't seem like they're going to do that. They're going to still stick to what they do. They'll probably play a lot of 4-2-5. Probably have Jalen Petrie close to the line of scrimmage a lot. And I think that's why Henry To'oTo'o is a key to this game and also a player who's going to play a lot better than what everyone expects.
for me, it's kind of tough because I don't know technically who's going to be the second defensive tackle to really start. It's either Edwards or Davis. Whoever starts out of those two, I think it's probably Edwards. But whichever one it is, that's my key because we've talked about it where Mario Edwards was awesome in preseason, but he is more of a pass rusher. And like we talked about, they're going to try to run the ball. So if Edwards can get physical in that interior and be able to slow down the run, because Indy, not even just week two, but week 18 too, they ran the ball really well against us. If we can get physical against them and not having Will Anderson really in week 18, obviously hurt, he's probably your best run defender. But um, having the interior guys play well, because I think Folu's a good run stopper. I'm not all that worried about him. But that other spot, I think Davis and Edwards are both more pass rush defensive tackles. So if they can get in there, get physical against the run, and force Indy to be in like third and long, third and eight, third and that type of situation, that'll be huge. That'll be the key to the game.
Yeah, I agree exactly what you said about third and longs. But again, we're super high on these defense tackles. But again, the same as the offensive line. The Colts have a good offensive line. The Colts have
Yeah.
a good defensive line. So it may not look super good in the trenches for us, but we have the
No.
explosive aspects to kind of make up in that. But again, we don't know what's going to happen. My best prediction would be that the Colts possibly do win in the trenches. But that this time around, that does not mean that the Colts will necessarily win the game. Texans have a lot of stud players that can just come up and make plays when it's necessary.
All right. Let's see. Let's get in. You want to go ahead and dive into some film from week two? Get
Yeah,
into
that's
some
good.
Richardson.
Yeah.
Two. Okay, let's get into some defensive film against it was let's see, hold on. It's not logged in. Let's see. Still trying to figure all this out. We gotta see. It's not loading. Why is this not working? All right, give me 1 second. Let's see. I don't know why this thing is working. There we go. Okay, let's go to let me see. There we go. Okay,
Okay.
we can go into Texans. This is okay. They're in 4-3 here. So you got three linebackers. That's Harris, I'm pretty sure, and then you got Perryman. This coverage group from these two linebackers is not great, but
Yeah, I was watching there was like some clips posted and right there, Denzel Perryman
yeah, he just runs into the
clearly
corner.
wasn't flowing properly and bumped into his own guy. And he had a really rough game, a really rough start to the game against the Colts.
Yeah, I
But the
mean,
Colts
yeah,
love
you,
to run mesh concepts like that, and you're absolutely going to see that, um, regardless of the quarterback is for the Colts. And so, but I think the Texans defense is more prepared, and they just got so much speed, and especially Petrie looking even better. He's going to shut down stuff like this, and the linebackers, well, much more. I think we're much more confident, but much more
yeah, we are
confident
for sure.
with Aziz Al-Shaair. So
Good job by MJ Stewart to punch this out, though. I'm still convinced that he was in bounds here, and they called him
yeah,
out, but
yeah, that was weird. That was really weird.
like I think he's in here. But like you
It's
said,
just kind of lame, but
yeah. But like you said, this happened way too much where there was like miscommunications between linebackers and corners and stuff. Like that type of stuff, you would hope would be cleared up now because you do have more of a set group at linebacker. Because I remember last year at linebacker, you didn't really know who was going to start because Harris, didn't look all like Toa Toa was a fifth round rookie starting week one. So there's just not a lot of there's not a lot of continuity there. You would think that would get better this season.
from that camera angle, it just kind of feels like no one's comfortable. No one looked
Yeah,
comfortable in coverage there, and I just don't expect that to be the case this time around. That's a phenomenal play by
yeah,
Steve Nelson. And Richardson's going to do that a lot. If he sees a guy like that, he looks like that was his first read, looking at the left side. He's going to pull the trigger. Um,
really good play there.
really, really just a good play by Steven Nelson. He's not here this year, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
And then here's Henry To'oTo'o play. We're not going to really see the same Henry To'oTo'o, but yeah, I really like the way he flows and plays to the sideline. That's MJ Stewart too. But again, I'm really excited about this Texans defense because get to see Kalen Bullock coming from depth. Get to see Jalen Petrie strictly near the line of scrimmage to make plays like this too.
yeah, because like here, this would be Petrie in this type of
Yeah.
situation right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
in the
Petrie or Jimmy
box.
Ward or any other safety
Yeah,
will do that this year instead of, oh God, no Tavierre Thomas. Thank God. But yeah, I feel a lot better about this defense, and then obviously a better Henry To'oTo'o, we assume. And then again, another mesh concept, and just look what happens.
the Perryman's just. I mean,
Perryman and Tavierre Thomas were kind of the two boneheads in coverage all of last year, and you wonder why. It's really hard to
yeah,
explain why they do this. You simply have to have your peripherals open. If you see a crossing route, and you're chasing one, you got to pass it off. If you see a cross route coming towards you, you got to pass the one that you're already on. It's simple man coverage concepts, match coverage concepts. And
I mean, everything
that
else
should,
here is
I know it's
covered
week
well.
one,
Yeah.
right? It's week one, but that shouldn't happen ever.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, these guys have played football too long to not know that. Even if it is week one, you've been in the league for a certain amount of years, you should know that. But I mean, like you said, this Thomas should not continue to follow a drag. It's wide open now, and then but everything else here, that's what I was just gonna say. Everything else here is covered well. So it's just like you said, it's just these two that are blowing coverage. All right, let's see.
Yeah, and mesh concepts are not anything special. You don't need special route runners, and the Colts don't have special route runners, so this is going to be their bread and butter. And Anthony Richardson is going to be forced to make tight throws. He
Yeah, I
made
mean,
some
really, their
spectacular
best
throws, but
the best route runner is probably Downs, who's not playing. So
oh yeah, I would say one on one against unless the corner is like absurdly huge and physical, I would take Josh Downs
yeah,
one on one. But Pierce and Pittman, they're going to be more your possession, contested catch guys, big body guys. Pierce has some speed to him, but I mean, Lassiter has showed really good chase and run skills. Stingley can match, he can trail too. So, this is exactly how the Colts are going to try to beat the Texans. Just read option,
it's like
mesh.
yeah, nice job by Toa and Murray here actually to just follow this, and then Nelson gets off his block. But this is what I was thinking though, just kind of for this game. I think you're going to see a lot of Eric Murray, more so than Kalen Bullock
That's
because
fine.
of the run
Yeah.
defense. Yeah,
Well, and that's totally fair. Like Kalen Bullock, yeah, he had some nice tackles this preseason, but he just relatively was an aggressive run defender at USC. And you
yeah.
can't really do that against a read option team because there's going to be a lot of misdirection. And I'm sure the Colts will have lots of misdirection, motion, options, all of that. And I'm sure Kalen Bullock might prove us wrong, make some plays, but relatively for in terms of snap percentage, you're right. It's not going to be very high. And then
And
let's
it's more, it's not a Bullock problem. It's more just a matchup thing. I think next week against a team like Chicago, you're going to see a lot of Kalen Bullock. It just
the
depends.
plays.
It just depends on who you're going against. And so, and I'm sure people are going to be pissed because a lot of people really hate Eric Murray for some reason.
No
Um,
idea. Someone like had a like was freaking out on Twitter. Why is Eric Murray still on my football team? Why do you care, bro? He
yeah,
gets paid $3 million a year. Like why?
yeah.
Why does it matter?
It's the whole contract O'Brien gave him, which is just like yes, he was overpaid, but they also played him in the nickel, which he's not a nickel. He's a safety. So ever since he's been at safety, he's not been a bad player. He's a pretty solid player actually for them. So I don't know. It's bizarre. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago too when he was a free agent and they brought him back like on a or they restructured his deal instead of cutting him. People were like freaking out. I'm like the fact that he's made it through like four different defensive coordinators says that they like him. Like he's not. D'Amico likes him. Lovey liked him. Like it says more about
You're
him
on
than
the
it
team for a
does.
reason. Like
Yeah,
you're not on the team to piss fans off. That's just not how it
yeah,
works. Simply as that. I would say that the X factor for the Colts offensively really is probably going to be AD Mitchell.
yeah, yeah.
He's such a unique route runner. And not that I don't trust Kamari Lassiter and Stingley, but he does a really good job against zone coverage. I feel like a lot of NFL scouts kind of saw that too. I thought he was pretty nuanced, so that'll be interesting to see.
This is a, this is a really good job again by Toto and Murray. So they got Nelson and I think that I forget what that guy's name is, but he's one of their offensive linemen, two fries, I think. But they
Yeah,
get them out pulling, and Neil Nelson just kind of misses. And
that's a
then
rare miss
Toa,
from Quentin Nelson.
yeah. And then Toa gets off the block, which is, I mean, they kind of blew it up. I mean, the Colts had this set up exactly how you'd want it. You get your two of your better linemen out there lead blocking, and they just struck out. So
way I would see that going on Sunday would be like maybe you get some good chase from Will Anderson, and maybe like I don't know who the run stopping defensive tackle is really going to be, but you're going to have a quickness on the defensive line. You're going to need to also have some strength too. So it's going to be interesting to see how soon they figure that out. And then obviously Shannon Steichen's going to dial up some screens like this,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
really it just comes down to awareness. And the Texans have all the speed in the world to shut this down quickly, though.
I mean, here, really, Harris does a pretty good job, but he's blocked, right? So there's not much he can do.
Yeah.
Perryman's kind of the one that has to make the play, and he doesn't.
Has to make a play, but he does take out an offensive lineman, which is what you're taught to do there. So don't
Yeah,
hate that, but obviously too many yards, good design. So that'll just come down to awareness, really. And then obviously right here, got to see it from the other, obviously. But Henry To'oTo'o's got to keep his outside shoulder free, and he just kind of
pretty.
pat and
Yeah,
goes. That's exactly the stuff he was talking about. He felt that
it's a pretty,
he wasn't confident enough.
it's a pretty awful pursuit angle from NJ Stewart when you watch it. Like, why is he? I don't know what he's doing there, but
And yeah, someone like Petrie or Kalen Bullock might come in there like a heat-seeking missile and blow it up after 5 yards. Real
he
talk.
goes like
That's how
so
it works.
he's so wide. He darts in and then is I don't know. That was a bad
Well,
angle by him.
he got near fall in the film room. There's no doubt
Oh
about that.
yeah,
That is all. That play is
angle.
absolutely on MJ Stewart.
Yeah. Well, he's the one guy that's probably not going to play for the Texans. So you won't have to. Here, we don't. Let's go
He's I yeah,
watch.
he is literally injured.
Yeah. And this is the other touchdown run that he had.
Honestly, that was all Shane Steichen. I can't lie.
Yeah, it's just a good play
That was one
design.
of my favorite play designs of the entire NFL season, honestly.
That's a really good play design.
Oof. I mean,
It's tough when it's really tough for a defensive line or linebackers when the whole line flows one way to
absolutely.
decipher that. It's just tough. There's not much you can do about that.
Let's go the other way. Just he got away with his left hand.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, that's a pretty smart play. Like we talk about it,
If
but
you can do it, it's
pretty
like
impressive. Yeah.
I need Daniel Jones to add that to his repertoire. And then another near sack of one of Will Anderson's 15 near sacks they had last year.
We talked about it too, but like in this type of situation, really when they forced Richardson to throw the football, it wasn't all that great. They ran a lot of mesh and stuff that was wide open, but like here, so first down, he throws it, not all that,
Yeah,
nothing was
we
really
saw
open. He strips it away.
completions on, I believe it was a stick, mesh,
Mesh.
and a screen.
Yeah.
That's what he completed in this game. We're going to keep watching, but that's all we saw. And that
Yeah.
means he didn't throw the ball more than 5 yards. Look at that.
Yeah.
Too high.
Again. Yeah.
Too
And
high and
really,
good coverage.
yeah, this probably should be caught, I think.
Yeah, sure, but
But yeah, it's still not, it's not a perfect throw.
he leaves his feet. The receiver left
Yeah.
his feet. He was pressured, really. He sees Will
No.
Anderson on the stunt, but not much.
I mean, really, the thing too when I was watching Richardson against Cincinnati, and maybe it's a thing coming back off injury, but like his footwork here is very clean. It was not clean against Cincinnati. It was all over the place. He was throwing the ball like cross arm, like with his feet going the other direction. It was a disaster. That's why he looked so bad. So if he looks like that again, they're going to tear apart because that was very clean, and he still missed the throw. Man, I love Zach Moss's game. I just got to throw that out there. I was a huge advocate for us signing him in the offseason. I just really liked his game, but Minnesota or not, what I saw in Minnesota, he went to Cincinnati, but it's a good runner. See, but this is what we talked about too with Harris. Like early season Harris, he's missing this later in the season. Like he's making this play. He was just early in the season. He was just struggling, man.
Gotta
It
squeeze in
was
a little
rough.
bit more and fit. But I really haven't really seen too much from Anthony Richardson to be concerned. We know the Texans defense has improved. We know they're going to be more confident in the scheme. It really just comes down to stopping the run because the Colts can spam run. They can spam the run game all
Yeah,
game if they want to. That's just true. They can spam mesh if they want to. They can spam Anthony Richardson runs. They don't have to win from Anthony Richardson throwing from the pocket because he's yet to complete a regular, pocket drop back pass from what
and
we've
really,
seen.
this is not open at all. There's nothing really open here,
And
but
then you
that
see
was
Alex
not open at
Pierce.
all.
Alex Pierce cannot separate against Steven Nelson. And I've had my issues with Steven Nelson in man coverage past 2 years, so really not concerned at
This is a
all.
better safety. We talk about it, but like if this is Kalen Bullock or this is even Eric Murray, that might be a pick. Because I mean, really, like the leverage is on Stewart's side, and he still throws it.
He's not being very advantageous there. No.
Yeah, you can get the angle here, but if this is a better play by the safety, this could be a pick.
So yeah, I didn't realize the ball went that far up to his
Yeah,
side.
it wasn't even close.
Richardson was very lucky here. Seriously.
And this gets called back due to a hold, so this doesn't
Ball's
count.
also very low.
Yeah,
Clean footwork. And like you said, the fact that the footwork may have regressed,
yeah, it's not good.
that's
Yeah,
concerning because he has perfectly fine footwork right there. That ball is not in his chest. He cannot turn and run.
I mean his footwork looks clean from what I've seen in this game. I just watched him against Cincinnati, and like it was a disaster. It was awful. And here, this is
It's
another
gonna be a short
screen.
pass. So yeah,
Yeah,
screen.
I think that's his last snap of the game. Yeah, so he goes out after that. So he did not complete a pass past 5 yards that was actually counted. That actually counted. That's what I'm talking about. The fact that Indy fans want to like write home about that is a little bit bizarre to me because he ran the ball well, but didn't
Shane
ever throw the
Steichen
ball.
does Shane Steichen, drew up some great plays. He really
Yeah,
did.
here, I want to see.
He's a really good play caller.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Don't
I
deny
just want to
that.
go. Let's go to week 2 because I want to see what his A dot was because it can't be very high. 'Cause, like so, we'll see. Here, we'll go.
Exactly. It shouldn't have been high at all.
Like Stroud's, for example, is I can't even read that. I think it's a
Say
10.
10.
It looks like a 10. Yeah. So he has an abnormally high average at the target usually. He pushes the ball downfield a lot. Um, but if you look at Richardson, it's
Looks like that one.
yeah. Is it a 1? Hold on.
Could be a
How do I?
one, could be a seven. I have no idea why PFF does this to
1.9. So his A dot was 1.9. I mean, and granted, he could look good and we could look stupid. But I'm just saying that was not enough to make me be like, oh, Anthony Richardson's a great quarterback. It just wasn't. And honestly, I think they counted the MJ Stewart play as a turnover worthy play because it could have been. It was not a good throw into traffic. Like we said, if that's a better safety that breaks on the ball, that's a pick. MJ Stewart more so didn't even play the ball. He just grabbed Pittman. Like if he plays the route, that's a pick. Um, so just not all that impressed from him. And I was a big fan of him coming out. So, maybe he looks
Absolutely.
better. I like Richardson. I was a huge Richardson fan. But I'm not ready to, and I think going forward he can be really good. I'm just not ready to say this season he's going to be able to compete in a division with even. And I'm a Trevor Lawrence. Like I think Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. So I don't think he can compete with a division with Stroud, obviously the top guy, and then you get Lawrence. I think he's better than Levis, but it's kind of neither of those guys I'm built that confident in. So there's just not a lot to for me to say that if we get up and force Indy to throw the football downfield, we're going to win. We're going to win the football game. Because I think the Texans offense is going to be very good again at taking care of the football. Mixon does not fumble the football. Stroud doesn't turn it over very much. I think Richardson's going to turn the ball over if he plays 4 quarters at some point. Strip sack, a pick, something's going to go wrong. So you got to be able to get up early, like we've talked about, and then I think you win the game.
Yeah, they should be chilling there. I really don't know where the confidence should be for the Colts offense other than just trying to run the ball.
Yeah, yeah,
That film review didn't look too good. He made some good throws. I remember like some highlights of him versus the Rams during a home game with a super
yeah,
tight
yeah.
end throw, and he's a talented guy. But this with the combination of the preseason game. Just not really anything too special. But again, he's young. He's young. He's athletic. They don't have to win with him being a passing quarterback.
No,
So, now I'm not trying. I'm not going to sit here and hate on Richardson or hate on the Colts. They have a great formula for winning football, and that's why I think they're going to be the number 2 team or number 1 team in the division for years and years to come because of the way their team is built.
and we can talk about the Rams game too. That was probably his most impressive game on paper,
Right.
but he was 44% completion percentage. He wasn't like lighting up, like he was not doing anything to be like, oh man, this is like crazy stuff. He had some really awesome plays, but the consistency is just not there. And I still don't think it's going to be there. I think
Oh, it
maybe
shouldn't be. I'd be
maybe
shocked.
next year,
That'd be
maybe
super
we're
cool for
talking
him.
his year 3, you get into his year 3, maybe the consistency gets there, or maybe it never gets there. You never know. But I'm just thinking week 1, really his 5th ever NFL game. He's basically a rookie still. He never even finished any of these
Oh,
games really. So
definitely. So,
against a defense that if Hunter and Anderson can get pass rush, if we can get to him, he's going to struggle. If
yeah,
they
I'm
can
I'm
run the
just not sure
football,
that they're going to try to drop back. We
yeah,
saw
I
what
don't think they
2
are
drop
either.
back pass attempts against that defense last year, and
They shouldn't. I
no
mean,
reason to
if
try.
we don't force them to drop back, there's no reason for them to drop back. We
No.
have to get there, stop the run, and force them into dropping back. Because if they drop back, it's not going to go well. Like you said, if they can just run mesh and stick and read options and quarterback design runs, we're not going to win the game. If you allow them to do that, the whole game is just not going to work. But you can force them if you can shut down Taylor and these linebackers play well, and you get Hunter and Anderson on the outside. If you can do that, then I feel pretty confident of you winning the game. Um, and honestly, I think a lot of people like Jonathan Grenard's run defense, and I think he was a fine run defender. But I think Hunter's a significantly better run defender just because there was way too many times where you would watch Grenard and he's out of his game. He's trying to throw out these pass rush moves and he'd be out of place. So I think having Hunter there also helps. You get Anderson on year 2. There's a lot of reason to believe that they can slow down the run game, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it just comes down to it has to be third and long.
Yeah,
Because you can run mesh if it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5. You can run stick and all those little baby concepts for Anthony Richardson. But if it's 3rd and long, they're not, they're going to maybe be like 2 for 8 on their third downs like that. It's
oh
not
no,
gonna
they're not going to pick up long
go
first
well.
downs.
And
It's
if
not
it
going
does
to
go
happen.
well for them, then the Texans have problems or Anthony Richardson just looked really good. And that's what it'll come down to. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this with a lot of games, but if Anthony Richardson beats you in third and long situations, you know what? Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. If that's how they win the game, you should have no problem with that as a fan. Obviously, you want to win, but if you win, if we lose because Anthony Richardson tears us apart in the passing game, there's something else that's wrong. It's not Anthony Richardson. It's probably that our corners or safeties or just didn't play well. So um,
I'll think of this game kind of like the maybe the Falcons game. Like
Yeah.
that was super cool for Desmond Ritter that you absolutely went off, but maybe there's just something wrong with the Texans, or maybe Desmond Ritter's good or whatever. So that was just like an interesting, like you just kind of had to take the L. You kind of just have to let it sink in. And the Texans
Yeah.
bounced back from that. They bounced back from it, but that was just a really weird game. That might be what we see. Really, that might be
I
what we
mean,
see.
yeah. Desmond Ritter played a career game. That's what happened. I mean, not much else you could say. Like, it sucked. We should never have lost
Deny
that
it.
game. But I mean, the thing
Yeah,
is that if you play that game 10 times, the Texans probably win it 8 times. It just, didn't go your
Tampa
way. It
Panthers
happens.
game.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So stupid. Um, and really, a lot of that had to do with, for me, was more so the fact that it felt like early in the season, the offense, like, they didn't let Stroud just open up the offense. They continued to try running the ball and they couldn't do it. They just couldn't run the ball efficiently. So that was a problem early in the season. Up until the Tampa game, really, that felt like a problem with the offensive play calling, and then it opened up. But um, obviously, this season, I think they're going to go away from necessarily the fullback. Like it's still going to exist, obviously, but not as much. You're not going to see as much of British Brooks out there or those guys. So I think that's my takeaway. The offense is going to throw the ball a lot because that secondary is awful, but we got to run the ball better. And that's a perfect transition into what we were talking about with Joe Mixon. We wanted to talk about just kind of a report because we haven't seen Joe Mixon at all yet. So I know Drew early in the offseason did an article on Joe Mixon. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that.
You see this?
Yep, I can.
Okay. So this is Joe Mixon. And basically, I just feel like Joe Mixon was an absolutely perfect scheme fit for the Texans. And he really didn't, I wouldn't say he fell off a cliff or anything. And actually, if you look at his advanced
But they
statistics,
got better.
you um, he was still a uh, like a top 10 running back, if we will,
Yeah.
these past couple years. Yeah, I think that's fair. Also, really good receiving running back too. He was top 10s in yards per route ran in 2022 and top six in receiving yards. Obviously, we talked about he won't be the blocker. That's just not going to happen. But it's nice to have like a guy that can go out there and empty. Even though I've never been a fan of having a running back out and empty, that's maybe the stupidest thing ever. If you have a receiver that can run a routes better, you don't need to have a running back out there. But teams do it to mess with personnel. But he can run routes for you too, which is great. But for me, I feel like Joe Mixon is a good scheme fit because he's a finesse runner. So he's gonna have a little bit of high pad level, but his strides are really, really nice and long, which also means he doesn't have to get home right here because he has like kind of those long strides. But we'll kind of go into some of the clips that I found on Mixon here. And look at that. Right. So he's gonna have this super fluid, super
It's
long
actually good
stride.
burst.
Yeah, exactly.
For
And
his
then he
burst
also, and
is a little bit.
hold on, the footwork is just like, it's like so
Yeah,
clean.
his footwork is so clean.
Look at that. But yeah, let's talk about that verse. That's it. Shoots. He's like a horse. Kind of just gallops. Got super long strides, and like you see, I wrote there. No, there's absolutely no wasted movement. I mean, he sees it. Boom, boom. I really like the feet footwork that he uses there. So
Sure. We'll be
it's
right back.
just
Just give me 1 second.
gotcha. Go to our next clip here. And like I said, Joe Mixon is a bigger running back. He's going to have higher pad level, but I feel like he's just so smooth. You don't really get from many bigger running backs naturally. Still stuck on this one play here. Not sure what's going on. Here we go. We talked about Mixon as a receiver. He was really productive in 2022. He's really productive as a receiver. He's gonna run a screenplay here, which I feel like the Texans can utilize him in screenplays. It's always nice to have running back you just kind of have screenplays for. This isn't like anything special design wise, but again, the cuts just look super nice, and I really don't think he needs long speed. Do we really ever see runs these days that go for 70 or 80 yards anyways? Not really. It doesn't really feel like we do. Um,
Stephon A
yeah,
chain.
he's got great vision. He could with one A chain now, sure. But
I was just throwing out my A&M. Yeah, I got to get him out there. But yeah, no, like you said, there's very few huge runs, and I'm not even really. I kind of prefer the running backs that are more so, like I don't like having these huge play guys that are not great at like running in between the tackles. You got to be able to run in between tackles consistently. So even if it's just instead of getting losing a yard, you get 3 or 4 yards. That changes the drive. The Texans way too many times last year, and even short yardage were like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. They go backwards. Like you can't do that. And it's partly on the running game. It's on partly on the run blocking from the offensive line, but it was also Pierce being indecisive, Singletary not really being that type of back. So getting Mixon out there, you can be more efficient on short yardage. You can pick up these first down runs instead of, you can get yourself 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 type of stuff will be huge.
yeah, I'm excited to just see I talked about vanilla plays. That's a vanilla play that Mixon took a big advantage of. Good hands, saw that one-handed catch there, and he's able to shed off tackles with that bigger frame, super natural. I feel like he's got pretty strong legs too. He could also potentially be a kick returner, but they're not going to do that. Actually, I think he has really, really nice vision. I really do feel like that. And I just love how fluid he moves. I think Devin Singletary was pretty fluid and all
He
that.
was.
Um, he was, but we don't have him anymore. But I feel like Mixon elevates a little bit more, just a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Well, Mixon
And
also,
he's a
like you
cool
talked
name
about,
for fans too.
I think the biggest thing with Mixon too is just the difference in the passing game. Where with a team that's going to throw the ball a lot, having him out of the backfield is very nice.
Yeah. Here he's got some power.
Oh yeah,
My jaw dropped when this play happened live on TV. That was pretty cool. Like I said, I think he has really strong legs. He even took some burst at the end to finish that run, kind of push himself into the end zone. So I'm really, really excited to see Nixon because they cannot load boxes against him. They cannot load boxes, and when he cannot load boxes, he's going to be able to operate so clean and efficient with the great vision that he has, fluid. He does not waste movement. So even though you don't think he's fast, he can easily get you 6 yards with his vision and his long strides.
for sure. And I mean, like we talked about, really, he's not a third down back. He's probably going to go in there at all on third downs. But just having him on, you know, if if you're trying to take a shot downfield, it's covered well. It's a 1st and 10 at midfield, right? You try to take a shot downfield, covered well. You can slip it out to Mixon. Great receiving back can get you 5 or 6 yards, and then you're in a good situation still. That is just so huge to have, and the Texans haven't really had that in a while. I think Dameon Pierce could almost do it, but they're not going to. He should be. Dameon Pierce should be the third down back. He should.
I
100% he
agree.
should. He's not going to be, but he
I
should.
really wish that was the case. Because his rookie year, he was an absolutely great receiving back. He had so many yards after contact, not just on rushing plays, but receiving plays too. But Joe Mixon can give you that too. He's still absolutely in every single down running back. He has the power, contact balance, receiving skills, vision, good strides, and burst in kind of a different way than you might expect.
Yeah.
And then also with Cam Akers can literally stop on a dime and just change direction too. I think Mixon can kind of do a little bit of that too. But Cam Akers, he has got some nutty footwork too that we're going to get to see as well. And I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
going to be fun.
Do you want to go ahead and do Diggs as well? We can talk about.
Yeah. Let me
Got
see
you.
this. Okay. Yeah, of course, Texans got three stud wide receivers. We don't know which one's going to go off. We won't know which one's going to go off in any of the games this year. But there's a good chance that all of them could have 1,000 yards. A good chance that all of them could have 1,000 receiving yards.
I
Who
love
knows? Maybe
the
Dalton Schultz will have 1,000 receiving yards because they find a way to triple team everyone. Who knows? But someone's
I
gonna go
love
off.
the I love that the first concern that you had for Diggs was just that he complains on Twitter.
Yeah, literally, that's the yeah. I mean, he's a good teammate, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, sometimes you just gotta get off social media. Just
yeah.
get off.
No, I agree with you. I
Uh,
just thought it was a funny thing to
yeah,
throw out there.
no, the Deshaun Watson cryptic tweets have gotten into all of our heads, so we don't need any of that. But yeah, really the
Yeah,
only concern of Diggs was kind of that. I don't love when he takes plays off when like the run goes to the other side because I don't actually see a lot of other receivers in the NFL do that. But when I was watching his
yeah. He takes
all
yeah
22 film, he did that. It's not a big deal. Like it didn't make a difference in the play, but I don't actually see other people do that. So I just didn't really like it. And it stood out. So, I got to mark that down. And like, yeah, poor body language on run plays kind of all ties together. But again, he could just be saving energy. So whatever, he's taking cool pictures are being taken of him during that moment. Who knows? But I still really think this Devon Diggs is one of the best route runners in the NFL and probably in NFL history. I'm not these 5 clips. I'm pretty sure are all really nasty routes. Um, this was the one against the Dolphins,
I
I
remember this
believe,
one
and
is
then
this
beat
is so
that.
nasty.
It was nuts. And that was we don't let's watch it in quick time. Now we can watch it in slow mo. Like he just does that so quickly. I mean, he's gonna go up
That's why he's my
10.
prediction in the red zone. They're going to go to him a lot. Like these like zigs and stuff that he runs in the red zone are nasty.
Yeah. But he starts as a slant. See, he does it so quick I can't even pause it when he slants in. But yeah,
You may be
basically
able to slow
head
it
fake.
down if you want.
Yeah, probably could. Head fake, jab, slant, jab out. Oh, but the footwork is also super clean, no wasted movement, super sharp, and keeps control of his body. I love how he like kind of keeps control and catches it like that too.
Yeah,
It's just something that like I really like about him. I don't know. It's cool to me. And then this one, let's just watch it full time. He's gonna be at the bottom of your screen here. Finally, I think I know which one this is. Yeah. Um, it was a stop and go. Yeah. Now that I think about it. Super controlled. It's just a little subtle movement. If you can see this Bengals corner is kind of just looking at his hips, which a lot of corners will do. They will look at the receiver's hips to figure out where they go. But Stephon Diggs kind of stacked them really quickly, and his footwork is just that nice to be able to stop and go like that and burst. I'm sure Nico Collins and Tank they'll learn how to do it too from Diggs, so it's nice to have him in the wide receiver room for stuff
for
like
sure.
that. And this against the Giants. It's going to be a crossing route. But I put this on here because the Texans run a lot of crossing routes. Um, he's a consistent and he's a consistent separator. Love how he just gets inside. Another head fake too. He loves to utilize head fakes. I really feel like that's one of his specialties. And there's just absolutely no way that I think it might be Dory Jackson. Not really sure here, but really effective route runner of crossers. And that's just one of the ways you're going to see him be used. Of course, the Texans, like I'm going to keep repeating it. We have Stephon Diggs, we have Nico Collins, we have Tank Dell. They can all do these things.
Yeah,
But it's just, so it's kind of surreal in a way. But yeah, you can all run those routes, but Stephon Diggs has been consistently good at it. And this is probably one of the best plays here by anyone, really.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Breaks
remember this.
off of
Yeah,
that. But it's just absolutely insane that he was able to run because when you run routes like that, you get a little tired. You get a little bit tired. And he's still able to run this route. Let's go to the route first. Gets outside. Gonna go out a little bit, out and up, come back. Quick kind of flip of the hips, come back in, turns out, able to make a man miss, sheds that, and then just obviously 29. It's kind of a bad attempt, kind of a bad tackle attempt there. But hey, I think he's a really good rack weapon. And there's a bunch of other clips of him after the catch too, him being effective there, and that's just another reason why he fits the profile of the Texans and the West Coast offense because he can get extra yards after the catch. That's exactly what you need um, in a receiver in a West Coast offense. And here we're gonna have Diggs, just kind of running a slant. I think he's not slant boy, but he does run slants as good as anyone in the league, honestly. Just kind of like how he gets inside there, protects the ball, and that's why he's going to be a good red zone target, third down target. I think we have another really good route here. It's against the Giants again, against Deontay Banks, kind of in zone coverage. When you see routes like that in zone coverage, it's not like he has to run a certain amount of yards. It just has to be a field between Diggs and the quarterback. He just has a really good job of kind of picking. Seems like we talked about the triangle multiple times here. Guy can draw on it, of course. Got a guy right here, making that guy right here, and a guy right here. And Diggs just really finds an in between.
Good spot. I mean,
Stroud's gonna
he
be
pretty
able to
much
that
made a
forever.
rectangle around him when he breaks out of that. You could see it. There's
Yeah,
four guys in the middle of the field, and he's really the only one, but he just finds the open space. It's right there.
so look
There's,
at
I mean, yeah,
that. I mean, that's about as good as zone route running gets there from
yeah.
Stephon Diggs. And Stroud's gonna be able to make that throw, and it's gonna be so nice because I can't imagine a lot of zone coverage. That's what the Texans will be getting. Because why would you feel confident in running man coverage against the Texans? Don't really
No.
know.
Teams are gonna try to run man.
Yeah. Let's just look. I don't know if any of these clips have much to them, but we'll just take a look at them. There's some pretty nice routes. This is from this year. Eagles just debuted his uniforms.
Those are so sweet.
Yeah,
I
just
was gonna say
NASCAR route.
we were watching the Bengals too. Their jerseys are so nice.
Yeah, exactly sure if this was by design, but I like when you have leverage like that, it can be hard. It can absolutely be hard to win a corner out there, but he's just so smart against leverage. It's also probably scramble drill too. He's gonna help Stroud win the scramble drill. It's gonna be really nice to have. I'm gonna have to zoom in here, see exactly what we're looking at. We got Diggs. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
this is actually like a goal line fade. He ran a goal
yeah,
line fade from the 30-yard line, his own 30-yard line. It was, but look at it. He kind of stacks him, try to regain leverage because he knows he's going to go back outside. So it goes inside. So make the DB think he's going inside. Goes outside, and they throw a goal line fade to him for a gain of 15 yards. Pretty funny stuff. That's just something that the Texans could do on third down. And that's because Stephon Diggs is a really special football player. That's all the clips we have is Stephon Diggs, and I'm really excited to see how Mixon looks. Really excited to see how Stephon Diggs looks. They don't have to carry the team. I think that's really the important thing to gain from all this. They don't have to carry the team whatsoever, but they're just really good football players that we happen to add to an already good football team.
hell, I mean, they made a lot of moves in the offseason that are, and we haven't really talked about it, but honestly, my favorite move from the offseason is still Daniil Hunter. I think he's going to be the biggest key to
I
the
keep forgetting
Texans
that
if
guy
they
from
made the
Ohio.
move.
It's like
Yeah,
hard
like,
to remember at this point.
I mean, he played like two drives in the preseason, just game wrecked and just called it. So, like, I mean, that guy, yeah, he's still probably the biggest move that they made, and yeah, he's going to be unbelievable. So, and like you said, but even him, he doesn't have to carry the team either. He may not even be the best edge this season with Will Anderson out there. So you never know. Um, anything else you want to add for this indie game, or
I mean, I think we kind of hit everything on the nail.
I think so too.
I'm like you said, third and long for the Colts
That's the
offense
key.
is
Yeah,
exactly the spot the Colts don't want to be in, the exact spot the Texans defense want them to be in. Colts might win in the trenches. That's the only way they can win.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
they
yeah,
if that's not the reason why they won, then good job. Good job, Anthony Richardson. You
yeah.
look like absolutely amazing quarterback, and that's super exciting. Wish you weren't in the division, whatever. But that's how I can imagine the Colts would win would be in the trenches.
Yeah. And I mean, really, on either side, they don't throw the ball very well. They don't defend the pass very well. So, I mean, it's they're going to have to win by running the football and stopping the run. and blowing up our run game. Um, I mean, that's why third and long is a key for us too, just to stay out of third and long. Um,
Yet
because
I
you know you're going
would
to throw the
yet
ball.
we can get out of it though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
No, I mean,
so,
if we're in third and 11, how many times did Stroud get out of third and 11 last year and pick up 15? It happens so often.
yeah.
But it happened too much last year. That was the only thing that it happened way more than it probably should have. So if they can cut down on that, the offense is going to be unbelievable. And I mean, we're going to talk about it, but if Stroud looks like as good as I think he can in this type of game, his MVP odds are going to go through the roof because neither Mahomes or Lamar looked all that good. So, so, but yeah, I mean, there's a very good shot that he lights it up this week, and we're looking at it, going into Chicago, coming home. It'd be awesome because it'd be a huge statement win with how much you
It
get Indy
would.
fans talking. It'd be awesome. But week one, anything could happen, so you never know. It's always a weird week.
Yeah, I feel like the next couple of weeks when we have these podcasts, we'll know so much more about the team
Yeah.
just because of this one game. We'll know if this person is potentially a liability or this person needs to start breaking out, playing better, or whatever a move needs to be made or
Yeah.
something needs to be changed schematically. But we just don't know. Like you said,
It's
anything can happen. Anything
it's
can
one of
happen.
those games where it's too, if we play against a team like Chicago, you don't necessarily know what they're going to want to do. You think they're going to want to throw the ball, but they also can run it. You know what Indy's going to do. I mean, I could tell you right now what Indy's going to try to do. They're going to run a lot of, like you said, they're going to run a lot of mesh, a lot of stick, a lot of design quarterback runs, a lot of RPO. That's their offense. So you go into the week knowing the players know, the coaches know, it's going to come down to just execution. That's what's going to come down to because and I know that D'Amico's going to have a plan to slow that down. It's whether the players go out there and execute. And like we talked about Toa, that's why he's a huge key because I think Harris would be huge in this type of game. But if Toa can play well, then it changes everything.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see how this new defense plays. Just a little bit concerned about the interior defense line, but I will not overreact to how they play just because I have a lot of respect for the Colts offensive line.
Yeah,
Which really
for
just
sure.
comes down to that. Hopefully,
For sure.
Jacob
If
gets
they
no
look
disrespect
good,
to D'Amico, though, right? No disrespect to D'Amico on shoulder
no,
this year.
nope,
Okay.
no, no.
Okay.
Unless if Richardson throws for 400 yards, then we'll. If they get run on, I'll give him a pass.
I think Twitter's going to explode regardless if Anthony Richardson throws for 400
Yeah,
yards. Yeah.
yeah, we yeah, yeah. No, but I think I think the defense, really honestly at the end of last year, the tail last year was really when I thought the defense started to play as like they should play. Because early in the season, I thought it was bizarre that they struggled so much against the pass. Well, like we talked about, it was a lot of Denzel Perryman and Javier Thomas just not playing well. That was a lot of it, and you had Steven Nelson who wasn't great in man coverage. You were just limited to what you could do with those guys playing. So there was just a lot of question marks, and you were just hurt a lot. You didn't have a set linebacker that we're talking about because Harris was just bad for half the year, and then Toa was also not good in coverage. So it was just a lot of the defense is a lot more talented, a lot more defined this year of what the defense can be. But as you're talking about, defensive interior is a concern, especially against this type of front. But if they look good, then it's like we got
Out
something
the
there.
window,
Yeah,
not concerned, excited.
yeah, yeah. You have something there if they look good because that is the spot where those interior the two D tackles and the two linebackers is really where the game is going to be decided for us. So um, they look good, then there's a lot to be excited about that defense.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I don't think I'd be like confident if Malik Collins was still here
No, I
or
wouldn't. No.
Rankins was still here.
Well,
Like,
we saw last year in Week 18 when they didn't even have Richardson and they ran for like 200 yards against
yeah,
that front.
so
So
like that means that the Colts have a good offensive line, or B the Texans really need to upgrade offensive line, but that would just cause them to spend more assets. So they can wait on that, and that'll be a wait and see thing. But really, just I think the sky's the limit for the defense and obviously the offense.
I think overall they just match up better against teams that don't want to just try to run the ball a ton. They match up much better against teams that want to throw it. Um, we saw it with Baltimore too. They're just not a great matchup
Oh
for those type
God.
of teams. But this
So
year, I think they would match up better because their offensive line has taken a massive step back. But last year, that matchup was just brutal. They just
oh,
got
you
their
can
ass
like
kicked on
literally
both
load the
fronts.
you could load the box against the Ravens with the Texans in the secondary. Ooh, yeah,
Yeah,
you get Keen on the run so much more
no,
than last.
like I said, this year, I mean, just in general, this year they match up a lot better against teams that want to run the ball because you have Daniil Hunter and Anderson was hurt in those games that he played. He played, but didn't even start. Um, they're just a lot better, and Aziz is a better run defender than whoever they had at linebacker last year. So I liked Blake Cashman. Wasn't an amazing run defender. He was good, but I think Aziz is really good in run defense. Maybe he lacks a little bit in coverage, but so
Okay, well, guys, we will see what happens. Hopefully, we can give more accurate predictions
yep,
next week, and we'll give great film analysis. I'm super excited to dive into that. I'm hoping for the best, though.
yep. You want to do a score prediction real quick? Just throw something out there.
No,
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 no score
no,
prediction.
I don't do that anymore. I don't do
Too,
that anymore.
yeah, that's what you got. You got ridiculed a little bit too much for that. Too many score predictions. All right, fair enough. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week after this game. Hopefully, Texans dominate this game like we think they can. Should be an interesting one. Definitely a big matchup. Probably one of the more exciting ones of week one, just in general. Um, so, hope y'all enjoyed this one. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, stay tuned for the next one where we'll go over Chicago, kind of recap Indy, and we'll go over previews of the Chicago game. Probably go over film from both teams just to get ready for it. And we'll see y'all next time.